From ancient African empires to modern-day trailblazers, Black pioneers have been the driving force behind countless breakthroughs in science, technology, art, literature, and social justice. They have defied the odds, challenged the status quo, and inspired generations to strive for excellence. For too long, the contributions of Black pioneers have been erased, marginalized, or overlooked. Yet, their innovative spirits, courageous hearts, and resilient souls have shaped the very fabric of our world. In this video, we are honoring the legacy and unsung heroes of these trailblazing Black pioneers who paved the way for modern civilization. Before we dive right in, consider showing your support by clicking on the thumb up button before you. Share video with your global network, and also subscribe to our channel if you are yet to, for more revealing content. Now let us get back on the road. In ancient times, Black pioneers built and governed powerful kingdoms, such as Egypt, Nubia, and Axum. These civilizations were renowned for their impressive architectural achievements, sophisticated systems of governance, and significant contributions to mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, stands as a lasting tribute to the engineering prowess and organizational skills of great African civilizations. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as a timeless testament to human ingenuity and architectural prowess. This ancient wonder has had a profound impact on the development of civilization, shaping various aspects of human society in lasting ways. As the oldest and only remaining structure of the seven wonders of the ancient world, the Great Pyramid's innovative design and precise construction raised the bar for architectural and engineering achievements. Being the largest of the three pyramids of Giza, it is located on a rocky plateau on the west bank of the Nile River in northern Egypt. It was built by Khufu, Cheops, the second king of Egypt's fourth dynasty, at about 2543 to 2436 BCE, and was completed in the early 25th century BCE. The structure originally stood about 482 feet, approximately 147 meters tall, but erosion and the removal of most of the polished limestone casing stones, which made the structure smooth and caused it to gleam in the sunlight, have lowered the pyramid's height to 449 feet, which is about 137 meters. The base and three sides each measure 755 feet in length. The pyramid's sides rise at an angle of 51.87 degrees and are accurately oriented to the four cardinal points of the compass. The Great Pyramid's core is made of yellowish limestone blocks, and the inner passages are of finer light-colored limestone. The interior burial chamber is built of huge blocks of granite. Approximately 2.3 million blocks of stone were cut, transported, and assembled to create the 5.75 million-ton structure, which is a masterpiece of technical skill and engineering ability. The internal walls, as well as those few outer casing stones that still remain in place, show more beautiful joints than that of any other masonry constructed in ancient Egypt. The pyramid's influence can be seen in subsequent ancient wonders, such as the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and the statue of Zeus at Olympia. The pyramid's sheer scale and grandeur inspired generations of builders, architects, and engineers, driving innovation and advancement in these fields. The Great Pyramid's construction also necessitated significant advances in mathematics and geometry. The ancient Egyptians' sophisticated understanding of these concepts, as demonstrated by the pyramid's precise alignment with the true north, helped lay the foundations for later mathematical discoveries. This, in turn, had a profound impact on fields such as astronomy, physics, and engineering, shaping our understanding of the world and the universe. The pyramid's alignment with celestial bodies, such as the constellation Orion, demonstrates the ancient Egyptians' impressive knowledge of astronomy. This understanding of the night sky and the movements of celestial bodies inspired later cultures to explore the mysteries of the universe, driving advancements in astronomy and cosmology. Beyond its architectural and mathematical significance, the Great Pyramid played a crucial role in the economic and cultural development of ancient Egypt. The pyramid's construction necessitated the organization of a massive workforce, the development of new technologies, and the establishment of trade networks. This, in turn, stimulated economic growth and helped establish Egypt as a major power in the ancient world. Today, The Great Pyramid remains an enduring symbol of ancient Egyptian culture, representing the power, wisdom, and spiritual aspirations of the pharaohs. Its mystique has inspired countless artistic, literary, and philosophical works throughout history, continuing to captivate the imagination of people around the world. As a tangible link to the past, the Great Pyramid serves as a valuable historical record, providing insights into ancient Egyptian society, politics, and spirituality. Its study has driven the development of archaeology, Egyptology, and the preservation of cultural heritage, ensuring that the legacy of this ancient wonder continues to inspire and educate future generations. Going forward, when most people consider historical scientists and physicians, they think of white European figures. Not many stop and reflect on the innovations of Africans, Asians, or Native Americans. The erasure of scientists of color is so embedded in society that even Imhotep, the first historically recorded physician, is most popularly recognized as the mystic antagonist in the Hollywood film The Mummy. Yet to get a full picture of scientific history, we must consider Imhotep, our world's first recorded medical doctor. Popularly referred to as Hippocrates, Imhotep was an African genius and a great physician who scientifically diagnosed and treated diseases. Imhotep was an architect, engineer, philosopher, writer, priest, and physician. His writings include medical diagnosis, examination, findings, prognosis, and therapy. Imhotep wrote the very first scientific work of medical significance, which was discovered in 1862 when grave robbers in Egypt dug up some treasures, including a 15-feet-long papyrus with writings on both sides. In almost 500 lines of text, which includes 48 case studies, the papyrus presents a logical and highly organized work of a master scientist physician. The robbers sold the papyrus to British Egyptologist Edwin Smith, whose name became synonymous with the papyrus. The papyrus illustrates how to diagnose and treat diverse traumatic and incidental injuries to the head, face, neck, arms, chest, shoulder, and spinal column, among other medical treatises. By 1930, an in-depth examination conducted by Professor James Breasted established that the papyrus was a copy of an original manuscript that must have dated as far back as 3000 BC. The now so-called Edwin Smith papyrus was attributed to Imhotep, a high officer or chief minister to Djoser, also known as Zoser, the second king of Egypt's third dynasty, 2630 to 2611 BCE. In his lifetime, Imhotep identified and cured over 200 ailments, including tuberculosis, appendicitis, gout, gallstones, and arthritis. He also performed surgery and may have established the world's first hospital, as well as a medical school in Memphis, Egypt. The famed American archaeologist and Egyptologist James Henry Breasted, in describing Imhotep, said,
"In priestly wisdom, in magic, in the formulation of wise proverbs, in medicine and architecture, this remarkable figure of Djoser's reign left so notable a reputation that his name was never forgotten."
Sir William Osler, a 19th century British medical practitioner, described Imhotep as the first figure of a physician to stand out clearly from the mists of antiquity. Prior to the discovery of the Edwin Smith papyrus, the oldest written record of occupational medicine was dated to the time of Hippocrates, circa 460 BCE to circa 370 BCE. Historically, therefore, available written records show that it was not Hippocrates, but Imhotep, who first argued that diseases are caused by natural causes and not as a result of spiritual activities. Hippocrates would repeat that claim 2,000 years later. The erroneous attribution of the title of the father of modern medicine to the Greek physician, Hippocrates, should have been discontinued with accurate transliteration of the works of the Egyptian physician, Imhotep, contained in the Edwin Smith papyrus. Research and archaeological evidence established that Imhotep taught many Greek physicians on the philosophy and practice of the art of medicine. According to respected Greek historian Isocrates, Hippocrates studied under Pythagoras, who, himself, studied in Egypt for 22 years before returning to Greece to teach medicine. Professor and anthropologist Cheikh Anta Diop asserts that Africa, specifically Egypt, was a place where the Greeks visited to drink at the fount of scientific, religious, moral, and social knowledge, the most ancient such knowledge that mankind had acquired. Another black inventor, too, Granville T. Woods, patented several electrical inventions, including that of an electric railway, an electric roller coaster called the Figure 8, and a telegraphony, which sent telegraph and voice messages over the same wire. The synchronous multiplex railway telegraph was another of Woods's inventions. Patented in 1885, it improved communication on the nation's railway system by allowing telegraph messages to be sent from trains to railway stations. This innovation helped prevent a lot of accidents by enabling dispatchers to pinpoint a train's location. In 1892, Woods patented a transit improvement known today as the third rail. The device allows electricity to power trains without the use of batteries or exposed wires. He originally designed it for trains, but later modified it to power an amusement ride known as the Figure 8 roller coaster, an invention he first demonstrated at Coney Island. During his lifetime, Woods encountered much resistance to his patents and inventions because of the prevailing belief that a black man could not have come up with creative innovations. Many rivals took advantage of this attitude, and some of his patents were stolen outright by competitors such as Thomas Edison. Woods was forced to defend himself in court and eventually won. After one of Woods's court victories, Edison tried to hire Woods to work for him at his Edison Company. Granville Woods was a prolific inventor who filed more than 50 patents for improved electrical devices ranging from automatic brakes to egg incubators to phonographs and telephones. Among the companies who bought his inventions were General Electric, Westinghouse, Edison Company, and American Engineering. After he died in 1910, he was remembered as the Black Thomas Edison. And in April 2008, the corner of Stillwell and Mermaid Avenues was named Granville T. Woods Way in his honor. Going forward, have you ever wondered how a world where medical emergencies were often doomed by a single critical shortage of blood looked like? A place where surgeons were forced to watch patients slip away, not for lack of skill, but for lack of a life-saving transfusion. It actually existed until a black genius and hero emerged as well, a pioneer who cracked the code on preserving blood plasma, and in doing so, revolutionized the field of medicine. Who was this visionary? Now the answer to this lies in the remarkable story of Dr. Charles Drew, the father of blood banking. This young native of Washington, Drew, was an average student but a gifted athlete recruited in 1922 on a football and track and field scholarship by Amherst College in Massachusetts. He was one of only 13 blacks in a student body of 600, where the racial climate exposed him to hostility from opposing teams. His own football team passed him over as captain in his senior year, even though he was the team's best athlete. Beyond sports, Drew didn't have a clear direction until a biology professor piqued his interest in medicine. Like many other fields, medicine was largely segregated, greatly limiting education and career options for African Americans. For Drew, the narrowed road would lead him to McGill University College of Medicine in Montreal. There, he distinguished himself, winning the annual scholarship prize in neuroanatomy, becoming elected to the Medical Honor Society, Alpha Omega Alpha, and staffing the McGill Medical Journal. He also won the J. Francis Williams Prize in Medicine after beating the top 5 students in an exam competition. In 1933, Drew received his MD and CM Master of Surgery degrees, graduating second in a class of 137. Drew's interest in transfusion medicine began during his internship and surgical residency at Montreal Hospital from 1933 to 1935, working with bacteriology professor John Beatty on ways to treat shock with fluid replacement. Drew aspired to continue training in transfusion therapy at the Mayo Clinic, but racial prejudices at major American medical centers barred black scholars from their practices. He would instead join the faculty at Howard University College of Medicine, starting as a pathology instructor and then progressing to surgical instructor and chief surgical resident at Freedman's Hospital. In 1938, while earning a doctorate at Columbia University, Drew won a fellowship to train at Presbyterian Hospital in New York with eminent surgeon Alan Whipple. Instead of following the traditional path of residence to gain experience in surgical pathology and bacteriology, surgical laboratory research, outpatient clinic, operating rooms, and surgical wards. Whipple assigned Drew to work under John Scudder, who was granted funding to set up an experimental blood bank. This would prevent him from privileges afforded to his white peers, especially direct access to patients. Scudder considered his protege naturally great and a brilliant pupil, and Whipple would later be won over by Drew's talent, supporting both his surgical training and doctoral research. Drew and Scudder focused their research on diagnosing and controlling shock, fluid balance, blood chemistry, preservation, and transfusion, the work on which he based his seminal dissertation, Banked Blood, a Study in Blood Preservation. The thesis also made him the first African American to earn a medical doctorate from Columbia. Scudder remarked that the thesis was a masterpiece and one of the most distinguished essays ever written, both in form and content. Dr. Charles Drew's groundbreaking doctoral research delved into the intricacies of blood and transfusion science, meticulously examining the complex interplay of blood chemistry, fluid replacement, and the shelf life of stored blood. His comprehensive study scrutinized a range of critical factors, including the efficacy of various anticoagulants and preservatives, the optimal shapes and designs of storage containers, and the impact of temperature fluctuations on blood preservation. His key findings, complex procedures, and standards for collecting, processing, and storing blood proved his expertise and led to an appointment to head the Blood for Britain Project, BFB, an effort to transport desperately needed blood and plasma to Great Britain, which was at the time under attack by Germany. Drew worked with Scudder and E.H.L. Corwin to plan the organizational process of safely collecting, processing, and storing large amounts of contamination-free plasma, along with procedures for extracting plasma and ensuring safe arrival in Britain. To separate plasma from blood cells, the team used centrifuging, which is the process of blood separation components by density, and sedimentation, an act of separating particles from a liquid. After that, the plasma was then pooled from a collection of 8 bottles using an anti-contamination technique under strict air and ultraviolet lighting conditions, and samples were cultured for bacteria. An antibacterial called merthiolate was then added to the blood product, and batches were tested weekly. Finally, each batch was transferred to a shipping container and diluted with sterile saline solution, and a final sample for bacteria testing was taken before the containers were sealed and packed. By early August, a trial shipment of plasma was sent to England and confirmed entirely satisfactory. In the midst of the Blood for Britain project, Drew passed the American Board of Surgery exams. In surgical circles, Drew's performance on the oral part of the exam, in which he confidently lectured his examiners about fluid balance and management of shock, became as legendary as his athletic feats had been at Amherst. Drew later returned to Howard briefly, but was called back to continue supervising the Blood for Britain program. When the program ended in January 1941, it was recorded that Blood for Britain collected 14,556 blood donations and was shipped via the Red Cross, with over 5,000 liters of plasma saline solution landing in England. The program became a model for the Red Cross pilot program to mass-produce dried plasma in New York in February 1941, with Drew as the assistant director, and later for the National Blood Donor Service. Among his innovations were bloodmobiles like mobile blood donation trucks with refrigerators. The work sealed his reputation as a pioneer and earned him the title Father of the Blood Bank. Ironically, the Red Cross excluded African Americans from donating blood, making Drew himself ineligible to participate in the very program he established. That policy was later modified to accept donations from blacks. However, the institution upheld racial segregation of blood, which throughout the war, Drew openly criticized as unscientific and insulting to African Americans. In October 1941, Drew returned to Howard University, where he remained for the next 9 years, serving as head of the Department of Surgery and Chief of Surgery at Freedman's Hospital. His mission was to train young African American surgeons who would meet the most rigorous standards in any surgical specialty and place them in strategic positions throughout the country where they could, in turn, nurture the tradition of excellence. This, he believed, would be his greatest and most lasting contribution to medicine. He also campaigned against the exclusion of black physicians from local medical societies, medical specialty organizations, and the American Medical Association. Charles Drew died tragically in North Carolina on April 1, 1950, after falling asleep while driving to a conference. He was given a blood transfusion at an all-white hospital, but unfortunately he succumbed to the injuries. Furthermore, what about Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, a theoretical physicist and famous black inventor who has also been credited with making many advances in science? Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson first developed an interest in science and mathematics during her childhood and conducted experiments and studies, such as those on the eating habits of honeybees. She followed this interest to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, where she received a bachelor and doctoral degree, all in the field of physics. In doing so, she became the first black woman to earn a PhD. From MIT, Jackson also conducted successful experiments in theoretical physics and used her knowledge of physics to foster advances in telecommunications research while working at Bell Laboratories. Dr. Jackson conducted breakthroughs on basic scientific research that enabled others to invent the portable fax, touch-tone telephone, solar cells, fiber optic cables, and the technology behind caller ID and call waiting. Currently, Jackson is the president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, the oldest technological research university in the United States, and recently ranked by U.S. News and World Report as one of the nation's top 50 universities. The mission of Rensselaer since its founding in 1824 has been to apply science to the common purposes of life. Dr. Jackson's goal for Rensselaer is to achieve prominence in the 21st century as a top-tier world-class technological research university with global reach and global impact. Going forward into space exploration, varieties of black figures like Benjamin Banneker have done a great job in shaping civilization. Mathematician and astronomer Benjamin Banneker was born on November 9, 1731, in Ellicott's Mills, Maryland. Largely self-taught, Banneker was one of the first African Americans to gain distinction in science. His significant accomplishments and correspondence with prominent political figures profoundly influenced how African Americans were viewed during the Federal period. Banneker spent most of his life on his family's 100-acre farm outside Baltimore. There, he taught himself astronomy by watching the stars and learned advanced mathematics from borrowed textbooks. Around age 21, Banneker borrowed a wealthy acquaintance's European-made pocket watch, carefully disassembled and rebuilt it, and used it as a design to create a clock out of wooden pieces he hand-carved. This clock, known to be the first known clock created entirely in what became the United States, was incredibly precise and worked for decades afterwards. In 1789, Banneker began making astronomical calculations that enabled him to successfully forecast a solar eclipse. His estimate, made well in advance of the celestial event, contradicted predictions of better-known mathematicians and astronomers. Banneker's mechanical and mathematical abilities impressed many, including Thomas Jefferson, who recommended him for the surveying team that laid out Washington, D.C. In his free time, Banneker began compiling his Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia almanac and ephemeris. The almanac included information on medicines and medical treatment and listed tides, astronomical information, and eclipses that Banneker had calculated. He published the journal annually from 1791 to 1802. On August 19, 1791, Banneker sent a copy of his first almanac to then Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson. In an accompanying letter, he questioned the slaveholders' sincerity as a friend to liberty. Banneker urged the future president to fight for the abolition of slavery. Jefferson, founding father and third president of the United States, responded by expressing his ambivalence about slavery and endorsing Banneker's accomplishments. Jefferson closed the letter by informing Banneker that he had forwarded the almanac to the French philosopher, the Marquis de Condorcet, for the purpose of dispelling racial prejudices. Benjamin Banneker's exchange with Thomas Jefferson was a significant moment in his life. In 1791, he sent Jefferson a copy of his almanac as evidence of black people's equal intelligence. However, Jefferson's views on race were complex and contradictory. In his writings, such as notes on the state of Virginia, Jefferson revealed conflicting perspectives on race. Moreover, his correspondence with diplomat Joel Barlow and French clergyman Henry Gregoire showed less favorable attitudes toward African Americans. Despite this, Banneker's almanac was a testament to his intellectual abilities and a challenge to Jefferson's ambiguous views. Banneker went on to publish several more almanacs, which provided useful information for working people, including weather predictions and astronomical data. Tragically, Banneker died on October 25, 1806, but his accomplishments continued to inspire African Americans and provide ample evidence of African American achievement in the sciences. Again, there's Alice H. Parker, a black female inventor in the early 20th century, known for patenting a central heating system that uses natural gas. Her invention played a key role in the development of the heating systems we have in our homes today. Little is known about Parker's life or upbringing, most likely because women, especially women of color at the time, were not documented sufficiently. She was born in 1895 in Morristown, New Jersey, and later attended classes at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Parker's idea for a heating system came from being cold during New Jersey winters, when fireplaces did not effectively heat an entire home. Most homeowners 100 years ago were stocking up on wood or coal to heat their homes. Parker's design was unique since it used natural gas, which saved time from chopping wood and increased safety measures without a fire burning all night. Granted on December 23, 1919, Parker's patent was not the first for a gas furnace design, but it uniquely involved a multiple yet individually controlled burner system. Although her exact design was never implemented due to concerns with the regulation of heat flow, her system was an important precursor to the modern heating zone system and thermostats as well. To close this, as we continue to evolve, there's no doubt that thousands of black inventions, scientific contributions, and literary works have redefined industries and shaped societies. The profound impact of black pioneers has been felt across the globe, from the fields of medicine and technology to the realms of art and social justice. Their innovative spirits, perseverance, and determination have paved the way for future generations, inspiring new discoveries, creativity, and progress. By acknowledging and celebrating the achievements of black pioneers, we not only honor their legacies, but also foster a more inclusive and equitable understanding of history. That brings us to the end of yet another revealing video. Don't forget to support our works by hitting the thumb button below, share with friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative, and subscribe with us to stay tuned in if you are yet to. We are glad to have you here on this journey with us. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.